So you guys, Beck did a premiere answering all of Amber's lies. You guys, it was delicious. It was juicy, delicious. So let's get right into it.
Hey everyone. If you felt crazy after watching everything unfold last week, you're not alone. Trust me, I'm feeling it myself. There's been so much coming out, it's been really hard to keep up. Between reactions and live streams and the podcast with Casey and now Amber's last live stream on Thursday, it has just all been overwhelming. Amber's live was hard for me to watch. It brought up a lot of emotions I've had to confront. Her language, outlook, and how she twists everything was very triggering.
And honestly, you guys, I didn't want to cut this video way too short. I really didn't, because I think Beck had a lot of stuff to address and a lot of good points in this video. So this video is probably going to be a little bit longer, but yeah, just giving you a heads up.
It was clearly an attempt to attack my character and discredit me and what I've said about her. Because of that, I had to comb through everything she said, take notes, and try my best to wrap my head around what was going on. Reaction channels have really helped so much with that, and it's difficult seeing so many people watch her lie about me and others while trying to manipulate the narrative. But they remember things even I don't remember sometimes, and getting the outside perspective has been incredibly important and enlightening. I've been trying to keep myself from having to address her directly most of the time. I did consider making this video at her specifically, but when I was writing this, I found out that she wasn't who I wanted to talk to. I wanted to tell you what I thought and what I'm feeling. This is all really new to me. Yes, I've talked about our past relationship before, but not to the extent I have the last month or so. And I've been on YouTube in the past, but I've never had this amount of support behind me until recently.
And honestly, this could have just been avoided if Amber just stopped herself. This all could have been avoided. And I understand why people did not like Beck in the past, but she owns up to her mistake. We all make mistakes. She owns up to that. And also part of it was that she was so attached to Amber, so it's easy to lump her in. And you also see the fact that they were in a relationship, so she felt like she had to defend her in a public eye. You know what I mean? So I completely get it on both sides.
Now with more public support comes more attention and more expectations. I knew talking about her again would bring a lot of eyes my way, and I don't want to let anyone down. But I can't stand by and let fear stop me from talking about what I went through and bringing awareness to covert narcissism and mental, emotional, and financial abuse. All abuse survivors deserve to be advocated for, whether it is physical or psychological. Amber herself was once a victim of abuse in her childhood, but she...
And you guys, that's a crazy part. You would think you go through that, you would not want to see another person go through that. It's not just towards her. There's other people who end up like her, even though they grew up in a similar situation. You know, it's like repeating the cycle. And you would think the person would want to stop the cycle. But I always found that part very interesting.
She has continuously weaponized her trauma to manipulate people into getting her way in many different scenarios. Even now she is doing that, trying to paint herself to look like as much of a victim as her own victims. She wants me to tuck my tail and run away from this like I've done before.
And that part back, that part, and she thought she could bully you because she was able to do that in the past. She had you terrified by telling you that the internet hated you, so you wouldn't speak up. So that gave her the free reign to say whatever, whomever about you, and people would believe her. So I'm glad you find your backbone. I am so glad you find your backbone.
But I won't be doing that this time. First, I want to say that I understand if Amber has maybe swayed your opinion of me. It's so easy to get swept up in her confusion and manipulation. I was swept up in it for many years, and you don't have to like me to still hold Amber and people like her accountable publicly for the harm that they cause. I will link some videos in the description for channels that really helped me make sense of this whole mess. but I just ask that you give me a chance to make some points before forming your whole opinion. It has been difficult to understand and tell my truth because this has all been so messy and emotional from the beginning with Amber. Secondly, I want you to keep in mind two things that I've learned about while trying to make sense of what I went through. Darvo is a manipulation tactic often used by narcissists and abusers when confronted about their behaviors and actions. Deny stands for downplaying or minimizing severity of actions. Deny it happened. Reject responsibility.
And I am so glad that Beck did her homework. I am so glad she did her homework. You can tell she has grown as a person. She's not telling us she has grown as a person. She's showing us. We see it. Unlike MB over there. Girl, go to a therapist. Work on yourself. Try to be a better human. That's all we're asking of you, Amber. Just try to be a better human.
Responsibility for it or refuse to acknowledge it. Attack means attacking credibility, character, or motivations and exaggerating or lying counter accusations to divert attention from them. Reverse victim and offender, twisting the narrative to make them the real victim of abuse, casting blame onto someone else to regain control, and manipulating emotions to get sympathy or pity. And the narcissist prayer, coined by Dana Craig.
I am enjoying this information. I'm appreciating it because I never knew any of this stuff. You know what I mean? I've never had to deal with somebody like Amber in my personal life. So I appreciate this, honestly. Thanks, Beck.
Used to demonstrate the way the narcissist thinks about their actions. That didn't happen. And if it did, it wasn't that bad. And if it was, that's not a big deal. And if it is, that's not my fault. And if it was, I didn't mean it. And if I did, you deserved it. I think for someone who claims to not be a narcissist and to only have a few narcissistic traits, these patterns are very similar, if not exactly what she's done and is doing now.
I mean, all that rings true to Amber, especially the last narcissistic prayer thing. That rings true. That rings true. Holy crap.
However, I don't want you guys to believe I am some perfect victim of Amberlyn Reed. I'm not and have never been perfect before her or after. She continues to say that everyone believes I am all good and she is all bad. She acts as if I've never been criticized in the past or now. But the truth is she has never been able to take criticism and still can't handle it. Anyone who has ever had something to say about the crappy things that she has done is against her and has it all wrong. And it is not just to me, but all of her exes and the majority of her audience and the YouTube community.
And honestly, you guys, I still have this YouTube prayer that I hope it gets answered. Having all of her exes doing a podcast together. Can you guys imagine? Can you just imagine? That would be delicious.
Including reaction channels past and present. On the subject of not being perfect, reactive abuse exists within personal relationships, and I'm sure that I've said some inappropriate or mean things to Amber. During fights and arguments, a lot of sensitive things were being brought up, and I can't remember now the things I said, but we were having long-lasting problems in our relationship because of her continued behavior and our situation.
And honestly, we all have said some awful things in a fight. You know what I mean? We all have done that, whether it would be with your partner, family members, friends. We all have said some awful stuff to each other when we're upset. So, yeah, none of us are innocent of that. So I would not hold this against Beck, to be honest.
Reactive abuse doesn't mean that you're not being abused. I may not remember saying at least my family didn't do drugs, but that is not representative of my true feelings then or now. I have my own family members, my sister and my aunt, who struggled with their own addictions. My sister's been in recovery for 20 years and we sadly lost our aunt. I really don't think I would have said those things, but it was a long time ago and I can't be sure what I said or what she was saying to me before that happened.
And with that, for the context of that, in the text message, Beck said apparently, at least my family members are not drug addicts. To me, it tells me that Amber was hurling some insults towards Beck's family. And that's how they responded to Amber. That's what that one sounded like to me.
She showed no proof, and I don't have any either. But regardless, conflict can be used by toxic people who love to push and bring you down to their level. They do this to make you feel that they are not the problem, and instead you are both the problem. Amber, I want to remind you that I would have never been on YouTube if it wasn't for you putting me on your channel to begin with. I wouldn't.
Exactly that part, Beck. That part. And she kept on pushing you to be in her videos because she realized when you came into her videos, that's when she made the most money. And she was willing to milk you for everything you had. Yes, that part.
Have talked to Karina last year if you wouldn't have still been talking about me. I probably wouldn't have ever come back to my channel if you had not continued talking about me. And now I'm back and I don't know what I'm doing, but our audience is intertwined and you can't pretend that there isn't years of evidence showing your pattern of abusive behaviors toward every single one of your exes. We can't all be lying, Amber. I don't know where to start, so I'm going to just do what she couldn't do and list out exactly what she lied about in this live stream.
Shots fired. Shots fired. Amber had a list of different ways she could try to manipulate the situation. That's what that list was for. It wasn't for actually telling the truth about what actually happened. She just made a list of different ways for her to manipulate her audience.
Number 1. Amber claimed she never talked about me after the proposal story on her channel. Except she did. She made another video with my name in the title a couple weeks later. She talked about me on her Instagram stories and in her Q&As and in the comments of other people's live streams and videos. She even talked about me to people in her private life, according to Alexis, but I care less about that. The online stuff she knew people would see. And how many times now has she said she is done talking about me or the situation and then talks about it again? I've lost count. Number 2. She says she couldn't access the joint bank account that she had a card to with her name on it. I will continue to get into this more when I cover financial abuse later in this video. Same with buying me a car. Number 3. Amber said that I claim to never have met Jade or Libby. That just isn't true. There is evidence of me saying I met Jade before, as well as videos of me being in the same room as Jade. Libby, I did say that I never met, but that's because I'm pretty sure we never did meet in person.
You see, like, I don't remember Beck ever saying that. And all this is Amber's manipulation of language. Because I don't remember Beck ever saying they never met Jade. Because that would be absolutely absurd. Because Jade moved in while Beck was trying to move her stuff out. So, fucking Amber, man. Fucking Amber. And Libby, they technically met through a screen on a live stream. She's never met her in person. But why would she even bring up Libby to begin with? To make Beck look like a liar. Even though that lie she was trying to pull on didn't make any sense.
The video of me sitting with Amber and talking while she was on YouNow with Libby. I did not meet Libby. I knew of Libby as a friend of Amber's she knew while with Destiny. Number 4. She says...
Yeah, sorry guys. I just realized since I recorded this while Beck was live, I could not speed up. I couldn't speed up the video. I just realized now while editing that, yeah, I'm going to bump it up a bit. Anyways, let's continue.
That Eric and Ricky told her that I admitted to using her for money and called her a fat fucking bitch. And I know some of you really wanted that last part to be true, but I truly do not remember saying those things to Eric or Ricky. I did complain about Amber sometimes, but I never made fun of Amber's weight or body, even after the breakup. And why would I admit to using Amber for money if that's what I was doing? It just doesn't make sense. Eric and Ricky are also notorious gossips, and they love the drama.
I see. So this leads me to believe that Eric and Ricky told Amber that because that's what they were doing with Amber. But, interesting. Do you guys understand what I'm trying to say? That's exactly what they were doing with Amber. But putting it on Beck. Because they wanted to be in favor. Still be in good favor with Amber. Interesting.
They told me back when we were still talking that my own sister and Logan were talking crap about me behind my back, and they weren't. Number 5. Amber claimed to have told me many times to go get a job if I was so bored, and that she supported me in working or starting my own business. She also said that I only ever Ubered twice. That was a lie. I drove for Uber when I could, off and on, even after the breakup. Buying me some art supplies doesn't equal being supportive of me working and having a job. She admits herself in this live stream that she was controlling of my time and never wanted me to leave her alone. Which is it, Amber? Was I allowed to leave to work, or did I always need to be with you?
You see, Amber, this is where you effed up. Or you effed up multiple times. This is where you effed up. Because when I was listening to parts of the live stream, it's like, wait, you were controlling of their time, but you always were trying to say you wanted them to work. If they left to go to work, you're controlling of their time because you wanted them by your side. Make it make sense. Of course, you don't want back to work. You needed somebody to be there at your beck and call. Like, let's be for real.
Number 6. She tells people in her live that I said we weren't friends after the breakup, and that isn't entirely true. On my channel, I've said before that we hung out after the breakup, but that after I moved out, we were only friendly. We rarely saw each other unless I was dealing with my stuff at the apartment, and sometimes we were with mutuals. She continued to reach out to me every once in a while, and I continued to keep the peace when I had to because I still had people and stuff connected to her. Number 7. She lies about giving me her doctor's appointment slot for our psychiatrist because she was so worried for me. I don't understand this one or even why she thought that's how doctor appointments work, but I will bring this up again when I talk about my health history later in this video.
Oh my God, Amber, you're a terrible liar. Why would you even bring that up? That makes no sense. Why would you even lie about that? Jesus.
Number 8. Amber dances around implying that I pressured her for sex by asking her to be in a relationship. You have no idea how nauseated I felt hearing that. I'm going to be going into more details and telling you the whole story of that night.
Oh my God, you guys. Amber, you're fucking disgusting. You guys, you see what she's doing? She's trying to pull the same bullshit that she pulled on Casey about SA. Oh my God, Amber.
Number 9. Claims she never saw the settlement money and that, quote, it just went into the joint account. I don't know what happened to it. Number 10. She lied and said that she took the joint debit card away from me because Jade was uncomfortable. That card was only attached to the joint account we shared that originally was my account, and by that time she already had a separate private account with the same bank that all of her money was going into. Number 11. Amber also lied about free bleeding, about how long I helped her wipe, how...
Lord, we're back to the free bleeding. I still can't get over it, you guys. I honestly still cannot get over the whole free bleeding. That's insane. And then that also goes to show you how much she cares about her health. And how much even now she cares about her health and her mental health. She just wants something to use as a grudge. She really doesn't want to fix anything that needs to be fixed.
Often I brushed her hair and how often she showered. And then she also read out a chat about us both having hygiene issues. But I will once again get more into that in another section. Next, I will address the screenshots that she did show in her live stream and the situations surrounding them from what I remember. Screenshot A. Stop Talking Crap, September 7th, 2022. Prior to this, I had made a video on my channel that briefly mentioned Amber. I watched a Karina video and talked about it. I mentioned past relationships, and when I brought up Amber, I said something like, there were good and bad times, and she made a video shortly after that, on September 6th, that talked in length about my proposal to her. In her...
Y'all, back cam ready. Back cam ready for war. Amber, back is not playing with you, ho. Back is not playing with you. If I was you, I would just keep my mouth shut. At this point, just keep your mouth shut.
Video, she belittled me again and talked badly about me, making the whole thing sound like something she never wanted and was below her. Apparently, I sent her this text the next day. B. Last effing warning. Stop talking about me. All you do is talk about me, and I just want to forget you and all the bullshit. I will stop being silent if you don't, and I'm not the only one who has a lot to say about you. Final effing warning. Take my name out of your mouth, and I will get the law involved. I think this one is pretty self-explanatory. It was a little over a year after the breakup, and I had just had enough. If I didn't see when she would post something about me, someone was sending it to me, and in those moments, I just wanted nothing to do with her anymore. I'd finally broken up with her and gotten away, and I needed time to be left alone. Screenshot B, the banking. A. How much money is in the bank account? B. Sends screenshot of account that both of them had access to. She doesn't show a date for when this.
And for those, in case you're not near your TV or your phone or your devices, when Beck talks about person A and person B, person A clearly is Amber and person B clearly is Beck. So I just want to make that clear because to just put it on the screen, just making sure that you guys understand in case you walked away.
Was, but it seems like it is before she opened her private account with the same bank. I want to reiterate that when we got together, only I had a bank account. She asked to deposit the money she would make from YouTube into my account because she did not have her own. So this is the only time that she was not able to see what was in the account or access it herself. I don't remember exactly when we went to the bank, but it was around 2018, 2019, somewhere in there. That day she opened her own private account and also officially had her name put on mine, making my account the joint account that we both had access to.
Oh, so she initially had you put it on a bank account. Since her and Destiny broke up, she needed an account to deposit her payments from Google. But then within, I would say, a month period, then you went into the bank together so she could open her own account and then leaving your account as a joint account. Amber, you're an asshole for lying to us. You're an asshole.
Eventually, she had her YouTube checks directly depositing into her private account. But when it was in the joint and when it was in hers, she had full access to both. I only had a card for the joint account that was originally mine. After quitting my job and slowly becoming her full-time caretaker, I had no money of my own going into the account, but nothing was spent without her knowing about it or being the one to spend it herself. Screenshot B.2 Banking. September 2nd, 2021, only a couple months after breakup, June 19th, 2021. A. You need to open your own bank account. Just open a new one. I'm going to keep this one for now. I need you to start using your own money for redacted and stuff. Plus, when I pay you on this 22nd, I don't want you using this bank account anymore.
Wait a minute now. So you mean to tell me that she also, even though it's a joint account, none of her money was actually going into that joint account. She had her own separate account. Even though nothing was in a joint account, she was still trying to take over that account too as well. The football balls on her. Can you imagine the football balls on her?
B. Then go to the effing bank with me. So I believe that this was when she was urging me to open a new account and take myself off the joint account. That again used to be my account. But I'm pretty sure that I needed her to go with me to the bank to make these changes to the account. And I just wanted to say also that it's weird that the way she shows these screenshots, I can't read them myself, and she reads them out loud. But in some, she doesn't read it directly. It just throws doubt around. I also want to add that I think the thing that she marked out was weed, and I don't care if people know that I used to smoke. I did care once upon a time, but that's all I can think of that might be redacted in that message. And I think maybe why she said this is because she might have bought me a vape or some at some point. Screenshot C, lying to audience, April 17th, 2022. A. I am literally getting harassed because people think I lied about us still being friends. Why can't I just tell them I wasn't lying? This sucks so bad. B. It's best they don't know. As sad as it is, that would kill my channel. I do not want them knowing. It will be an even bigger, more messy thing. I'm going to address that I saw you and gave the rings, but we don't hang out, dude. That's just how it has to be. That's what they have to know. YouTube is my only income, and I'm only getting like $200. Amber adds that I said that I had a job even though I didn't. A. What about the backlash I'm getting for lying even though I'm not lying? B. If this comes out, it would be even less. Amber adds that this was about money. A. I'm choosing you over myself. B. You should have said nothing at all. Amber didn't say that part. B. I lost my job. Okay, this is the big one I know a lot of people wanted me to address. Amber says that I completely denied being friends after our breakup. I didn't deny being friends with her entirely in my live stream, but I didn't say we were friends because I did not see us as friends. I explained that we did see each other in passing, when I needed to go to the apartment where some of my things still were, whenever she asked me to do something for her, and while being with mutual friends.
Okay, I kind of understand why Beck made that decision. I mean, financially, I understand why she made that decision. She was also trying, sorry, it's going to take me a bit. They were also trying to detach themselves from Amber's name. But Amber knew that Beck brought in the income if they ever mentioned Beck in the videos, and she wanted to keep on doing that. I understand why Beck said what she said.
To explain the screenshot, Amber mentioned me in a different video and told the audience that we were still friends at that time. This is why I said you should have said nothing at all, which she conveniently did not read out loud, except I didn't consider us to be really friends at the time, and I didn't want her talking about me on her channel. I was scared of the audience, the haters, and the fans of Amber. I didn't want my channel to be all about her, and I didn't want to give her or anyone else any reason to talk about me.
And this part is very true, you guys. This part is very true because Beck tried really, really hard to make that channel not to be about Amber. They were trying to figure out what to do with the channel, and I think they only mentioned Amber once in passing. Only in passing because they didn't want the channel to be all about Amber. And kind of like now, they are addressing the stuff that Amber is saying, but this time around, she's mixing it up, cleansing her soul, and hopefully she can move on and do passion projects on the channel. You know what I mean?
Instead of telling her, no, Amber, I'm not your friend, I asked her not to say that we were friends. I had forgotten that I sent a message like that. So when I denied her lying for me, I didn't remember the assistance, and forgetting that is on me. But she wants to make this out to be an example of her always lying to her audience for me and to spare me and protect me. That just isn't the case. I believe she's only bringing this up because I admitted to lying in her videos for her on different occasions. I want to apologize to my audience for not being honest with you all at that time. I'm sorry that I was still afraid of being authentic and genuine with you all. I thought that if I could just ignore Amber and Girl World, that would be the safest path. I hope I can prove to you I have learned from those experiences and changed. I also want to apologize for my memory loss. I know Amber said herself that she has bad memory, and I'm sure that it was just an additional thing to muddy the waters of what was real and what wasn't. But I do wish I had more proof for you. Obviously, there are years of videos out there, and I rely on people bringing things to my attention a lot of the time when it comes to stuff posted publicly. However, I deleted all of our messages, texts, and other things. I didn't want to look at them anymore. I didn't want to read them or see them or think about them.
I mean, I don't blame Beck for deleting all those messages. I would have done the same. Amber is a psychopath. Who saved all of those phones, all of those messages from their exes? Lord, that's a sociopath, that's a psychopath. Put her in a padded cell. Like I keep on telling you, this woman, not Beck. I'm talking about Amber needs to be put in a padded cell and given medication. I'm telling you. Thank God she is eating herself to death because honestly, I'm still going to say this. If she was a normal sized person, she would absolutely be dangerous. Believe you me.
They're gone, unfortunately, so I can't debunk or even look at the rest of the conversation for the screenshots she shows. During our relationship, I lacked a lot of independence and self-agency. I did a lot for her, but I couldn't get myself to do anything for me. I was depressed, and it was only getting worse the longer our relationship went on. She was dependent on me and wanted me to be dependent on her too. Codependence is hard to break out of. I slipped into it so quickly I didn't realize I had lost all agency for myself. And then once I was in it was too difficult to stand on my own again. I've seen people compare it to boiling a lobster or crab. You put them in the water first and slowly raise the heat so they don't realize they are being cooked alive.
And that is so true. That is so true. She wanted you cornered and she had you cornered for a minute. And a little story, I didn't find a point to make a video by itself. She tried to pull the same thing with, what's her face? The latest one, Emily. Apparently, somebody asked Emily on Instagram if Amber left her house on her own free will. Emily replied and said, no, Amber was only supposed to be there for a short visit. Emily literally had to push Amber out to take her fat ass back home because Amber tried to pull the same shit. She tried to literally move her ass into Emily's house. She's a psychopath, I'm telling you.
Things Amber admitted to. Number 1. She admitted to being mean and rude and talking down to me in videos and behind the camera, but she didn't admit that this was a form of public humiliation that I believe she used to control me and keep my self-esteem low. Number 2. Amber said that she was horrible to Destiny No shocker there, but I do wonder why she kept saying she wasn't going to talk about Destiny in this live stream. I can only guess. Number 3. Admits to buying love and attention from...
Oh, damn. Oh, damn. So Destiny's gonna come out guns blazing. Oh my god, Destiny, hurry up and move. Hurry up and feel better. We need this tea. That's why she's not saying crap about Destiny. Because Destiny's gonna come out guns blazing. Thank you, YouTube gods. Thank you, YouTube gods.
partners and friends, yet doesn't admit to financial abuse at all. Amber, there is a difference between being generous and holding things over people's heads as leverage because you paid for something. Number 4.
That part, Beck. That part.
Amber says that she went through my phone a lot because of trust issues, but then shows journal entries to, in her eyes, prove that I did read her journals. First, I never said that she didn't let me read any of her physical journals. I said that she wouldn't let me go through her phone because she said there were private journals on it. Yet she says that I could read her journals anytime and she wouldn't have cared if I looked at her phone, but that I never really had asked her anyway. Number 5. She admits that she does not feel that I was abusive towards her. But then why do all of this, Amber? Number 6. She admits to being manipulative toward me and others to get what she wants out of them. Number 7. And finally, she admits that she shouldn't have asked me to drive during the times that I was physically and mentally ill. More on that later. At first glance, it may sound like she admitted to quite a few things, and she did, but she did not take real accountability for them. She spent the worst part of 3 hours talking about things she went through and only accepting the small things she felt weren't as bad to distract and minimize the impact of the bigger problems at hand.
It's okay, Beck. We all saw right through her. We all saw right through her. And I don't know, you guys, if you noticed in the chat, there's a couple people in the chat, in this chat right here, who used to be M babies, are like, they're seeing the light right now. So
Admitting to vague things like being controlling and manipulative, but not acknowledging that the impact of her being controlling of my time was me not being able to look for a job, save money, or even spend time with my dying mother. Amber continuously denied or straight up ignored the bigger issues or the details that didn't support her explanation for her behaviors. Things Amber denied/ignored. Number 1. She denied still talking about me after the breakup. Number 2. She denied asking me to send her the settlement inheritance money and me sending it to her for bills and other things she paid for. Number 3. She fully denied ever being financially abusive to anyone because of her infamous kindness and generosity. Number 4. Denied using a timer even though I said sometimes she did and sometimes she didn't. She only said this to make it sound like I wasn't telling the truth about her tracking the time for things I did. Number 5.
yeah, we all saw through it that. And that her latest video, thinking that she's strolling, having a big old timer in the bag. Amber, bad taste. Bad taste, my dude.
She underestimated how much I helped her with her personal hygiene, saying that I only wiped her for 9 months and that I got her a bucket a couple times and only brushed her hair once. She also denies free bleeding, though I...
Alright, you guys, hold on to your tits, buckle up, because it's about ready to get nasty. Like, I'm not kidding. Buckle up.
I was under the impression she had admitted this before in her videos, but I have no idea which video it could be if she did. Number 6. Denies leaving me with only a little bit of money for a U-Haul and implies that she did pay me for the live streams. Number 7. She ignores the serious allegations about her behavior towards Libby. Number 8. She ignores the chat asking her about getting physical with Jade. Number 9. She ignores everything that had to do with feederism and her irresponsible involvement with feeders and making feeder content. Number 10. The last thing I'll mention here is that she gets asked what is the worst thing she did to me, and she replies with,
The cruelest thing I ever said to Beck? God, I can't remember a lot of what happened, obviously, but let me think of something. It's not really what I said, it's just, like, what I did, like, forcing them to, like, come home quicker and, like, being annoying about it, you know?
And you know, I genuinely think she actually believes that's the only thing that she did wrong. She actually genuinely believes That's the only thing that she did wrong, which is why she's never going to cop out to anything else.
If she truly believes that is the worst thing she put me through in the past 7 years, then she is more lost and twisted than I ever realized. Now, as I talked about the screenshots, I need to discuss the journals with you. The journals confused me at first. I barely remember her writing in them the majority of our relationship. She talks about it like she was sitting there reading her journals to me or handing them over whenever she added a new entry. I don't remember ever reading her physical journals. I remember seeing her write down her weigh-ins or goals, and I remember an essay she wrote that she wanted me to read. I also remember her using her journals for stickers and scrapbooking. But beyond that, I wasn't just sitting around and reading her journals for fun. I think it's odd that she's using journal entries to prove anything, and even more odd that it was to prove that she would have let me go through her phone according to her. Especially when she lied about having 2 phones and then suddenly had both phones and has kept every single text message and photo ever.
Oh no, Beck. I think she has more than one phone. She has all the phones with the access. Believe you me. She's a psychopath. She has all the phones.
It's interesting that she brought the journals up because it reminded me that she had this online secret private journal on her phone and laptop that she says she had for years, probably back when she knew Casey and Crystal. And that was the journal she really never wanted me to see. But obviously, I wasn't looking to read her journal. I'd only asked to go through her phone because of how often she went through mine. I was like, why can't I go through your messages? Who are you talking to? And she would make excuses for why I couldn't look and just needed to trust her.
Yeah, because she was online, fat-fishing people, looking for a replacement because she saw it coming. But I think that's her pattern of behavior for all of her exes. She's in a relationship, she's already looking for a replacement, with the exception of Wifey. Wifey went in there willingly because they knew that Amber had money. They went in there willingly to get that bag.
Eventually, I just didn't care anymore. Next, let's talk about the mattress and bed bug situation. I brought this up in my last live stream as something I was going to say to talk about later in the video. So of course she had to get ahead of the narrative, and that's fine. It wasn't important who said it first. Though I do want to point out this was a first-hand experience from my live stream of my memory being a little wonky. I know it can kind of make some people question my credibility, but I swear I'm not entirely jelly-brained. I may mess some things up, but I remember the big picture. Ming, what happened to the bed frame? What do you mean, like the bed frame?
Like that's what you brought up.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean?
Bed frame that you had to get rid of. You mentioned that.
Yeah, you mentioned it. You said you wanted to hold on to that. They're talking about like what you were talking about just a minute ago, where you were like,
I'm having a giant brain fart. Hey, wait, is it the one that we had bought together for her room?
You mentioned it.
Oh, the bed frame. Oh, in her first apartment when we first met.
Yeah.
And she was moving out. Oh, I really want to tell you guys, but I've got some stuff that I'm holding on to just in case. So yes, it was about the bed bugs. While Amber was living in the townhouse, she had gotten bed bugs. This was after Destiny and her broke up, and we were seeing each other. The bed bugs could have come from the neighbors. They were horrible at the time, but it was impossible.
And the whole bedbug thing, honestly, I'm not blaming Amber for that. Honestly, and Beck is not going to blame Amber for that because it's a thing that happens. You know what I mean? For once, I found a thing that I cannot blame it on Amber. Imagine that.
Possible to know. However, Amber let it get bad and pretended not to notice. I had bites all over me. I think she probably did too, but maybe didn't want to admit it. I helped her get rid of them, quarantining her clothes and the mattress, and when she eventually moved in with Eric, Ricky, and I, she asked me to lie to them for her. At the time, I felt like I didn't have a choice because I didn't want her to be homeless, and she begged me not to tell them. I cared about her, and I knew that if I said anything, they wouldn't have let her move in. Eventually, I did tell them the truth, though, and Ricky and Amber had a big fight about it. I should have never lied to them for Amber at the time. Now I want to talk about something really serious with you guys. Talking about DV and SA is an incredibly sensitive topic to handle. While I am a victim of Amber's abuse, I am not a victim of either DV or SA by her hands. In this live stream, Amber makes outrageous claims against the people she's wronged and ignores others. She doubles down on her accusations against Casey with no hesitation because Casey dared to stand up against her.
Yes, she did. And that made me so angry. That made me so freaking angry.
Ignores the allegations of hitting Jade and ignores being inappropriate with Libby. She tries to insinuate that I pressured her into a relationship for sex because I claimed before that she pressured me into a relationship when I wanted to take it slow. She's always turning accusations around and making them her own to point back at people.
And I noticed that that's what's exactly what she does. What she does to other people, she'll flip it around and say, oh, that happened to me. The level of mental gymnastics to make yourself believe that is insane to me. It's absolutely insane to me.
The day that I asked Amber to be my girlfriend, we were having a Netflix and chill type of date. I was really into the movie and Amber wanted to make out and cuddle. I told her I didn't want to in that moment because I was into the movie, and this started a fight between us. This was the fight that she essentially told me she had many people lined up who wanted to date her, and if I didn't hurry up, she would find somebody else. I did like her at the time, and I didn't want to lose her yet, so then I asked her to be my girlfriend. Looking back on it, it's obvious she just wanted me to make it official as quickly as possible. After we started dating, the financial and economical abuse wasn't far behind. Economic abuse is a form of abuse when one person has control over the victim's access to economic resources, which diminishes the victim's capacity to support themselves and forces them to depend on the perpetrator financially. Amber didn't have her own bank account, and I allowed her to use mine and eventually join it officially. Amber had control of the joint account. Amber had control over her own private account. It was all Amber's money. She used paying for bills and buying food and gifts as leverage to get away with anything. This was
Yeah, she knew what she was doing. And I'm pretty sure she tried to do the same thing with Destiny. Even when Destiny was about ready to dump her, I'm pretty sure she did the exact same thing to Destiny.
enough in her mind to justify all the things I did for her and owe her more. I took care of her because I cared about her and knew she couldn't do a lot of things herself. I cleaned up after her and the pets. I ran errands for her. I took her to appointments and restaurants and anywhere she wanted to go. I made her a huge part of my life and inner circle. I tried my best and did anything she wanted me to do. Meanwhile, she sees the relationship as her being taken advantage of because she paid for things, like paying the down payment on the car that I drove her around in. She bought food because she wanted it, and she paid the bills because she also lived there. If I had a job, I would have been contributing. But she used the...
Isn't that interesting that Amber never mentioned that Beck paid the down payment on the car? Isn't that just interesting? And another thing, and remember that Beck's car was super old. And everybody, the exes, who had Amber in the car all complained about their shocks being worn out on the side that Amber was sit, the passenger side. So with Beck having that old ass car being with Amber, imagine how even faster that car died. Imagine that.
fact that she could afford it and she needed me as reasoning for me to not get a job. And Amber used her paying for things that I needed to manipulate me into handing over the money for my mom's settlement. She says otherwise, but it was not left in the joint account. All of this to me shows a clear power imbalance in our relationship that just kept growing and growing. On top of being financially controlled, I mentally wasn't in a healthy state of mind for most of our relationship. I was struggling with years of depression, and then when I finally tried to get help, the psychiatrist I was seeing misdiagnosed me and overmedicated me. I was on multiple medications, maybe 4 to 6 at one time. Mood stabilizers, anxiety meds, the combination and switching of medications had me completely out of it. I was bad before, but this was different. I was experiencing a lot of negative side effects, and Amber tried to minimize this by saying it was only 3 months. I don't know exactly when I started taking the medicine, but it was the longer part of 2019, I believe. She also tries to minimize the effects of my kidneys shutting down.
The renal failure was very, very thankfully short-lived. So it was very quick, thankfully, because that was also very, very worrisome.
These two things overlapped, but both had long-lasting effects. The doctors eventually wanted to do blood work because they were considering putting me on lithium, and that's when they found out that I was going into kidney failure. After more testing, they found it was the metformin causing it, and I was able to recover, but it wasn't quickly. After Amber's cancer scare and hysterectomy, I was the one who took care of her while she was healing. And yes, I was the one who wiped her. But I wiped her plenty before that. I believe from some...
Yeah, we kind of figured this part. We figured this part that you were wiping her ass way before then. Holy crap. You guys, it's going to get even more disgusting.
time in 2019 to June 2021 when we broke up. Before I started wiping her, she would use washcloths to wipe. She would set them on the corner of the sink, and then she would turn herself around to wipe herself on it. And then she...
You guys, I'm trying so hard. I'm getting the mental image. Oh my god. Oh my God. Do you guys think she's still doing the same thing? Whoa.
She would throw them away. Our roommates started to notice that their late mother's washcloths were disappearing, and they confronted her about it, and she wanted me to lie to them for her, but I didn't. She ended up...
Damn, Amber. You have no respect for anybody. You have no respect for other people's property. Damn.
up buying more washcloths for herself, and instead of throwing them away, she had me wash them in the sink and then put them in the washer.
Ew.
Wiping ended up being the lesser of two evils at the time. Amber also said that I only brought her a bucket a couple of times, and that is true. It only happened a couple of times, but I did help her get spots she couldn't reach, and in between the bucket baths, she just didn't shower. I also didn't only brush her hair once either. It needed to be brushed every few months. I'm only saying all of this now because she does not live in the same reality.
Did Beck just say every few months? What?
I'm hoping maybe this will be enough to finally reach her. She and some others don't realize that you don't wipe someone and groom someone that you don't care for. I didn't do those things for money. I did them to help her be more comfortable, to protect her dignity as much as I could.
Well, look at how she's repaying you, and look back, even when you were doing that to help her, how she was repaying you then.
I lied for her and defended her and kept her alive. Now she shows her respect and gratitude for me by talking badly about me repeatedly. Even in the chaos of everything she said, she still had time to read chats saying we both had hygiene issues and saying that she did gross things for me too. Me not showering for a couple extra days because I was depressed and you popping my pimples are not the same as me wiping you and cleaning your ankles. Amber doesn't want to say that she is an abuser. I am saying that. She wants to claim this diagnosis and that diagnosis, but the diagnosis doesn't matter. Her self-awareness is non-existent. Everyone has noticed that she takes zero accountability or responsibility when in private. She will beg and barter and manipulate until everyone sees it the way that she sees it. She can't do all of that publicly, and no abuser wants their abuse to be aired out. Amber, I just wanted you to finally take some accountability for the shit you've done. If I really wanted to humiliate and embarrass you, I would have just done this years ago. The only way to hold you accountable is publicly, bringing awareness to the abuse and having your audience see between the cracks. Your public live stream wasn't about an apology or healing. It wasn't about breaking your silence. It was about silencing others, especially me. You did not...
Yes, you guys, that was a lot. That was a lot. I've stopped the video a little bit too short. It was only like a minute or so left, but that was a lot. That was a lot. That's what happened. Amber, you should have learned your lesson, but you opened the Pandora's box now. You just had to open up the Pandora's box. The chickens are coming home to roost, so be prepared, darling. Be prepared. But anyways, you guys, that's all I got for this one. I will link Beck's channel in the description below. And thank you very much for watching. I will catch you in the next video. Later. Bye-bye.